I first saw ventriloquism at my church. Something clicked and I was like, I want to do that.
Darcy's got a duet up in here. Darci Lynne!
America's Got Talent has seen the rise of many incredible performers over the years, but very few can hold a candle to the enigma that is Darci Lynne. Claiming the crown at just 12 years old, Darcy not only won the show, she did it in style. With her beloved puppets in hand and sweet melodies on her lips, this undeniable talent warmed her warm into our hearts, one song at a time. Join us as we unwrap the remarkable journey of Darci Lynne and take you through every single one of her performances on America's Got Talent. Darci Lynne. This story takes us back to the very beginning, the first time we all got to see the amazing Darci Lynne in action. The year was 2017, and 12-year-old Darci Lynne was just one of the 126 acts who got shortlisted to audition in front of a live audience. But in the midst of the huge crowd, Darcy's light shone bright. Although no one had realized it yet, this young girl was about to change the history of America's Got Talent forever. It was 2017, and America's Got Talent was gearing up for its 12th season when this beautiful young girl walked on stage with a puppet. The audience was both stunned and mesmerized, and even the judges couldn't wait to see what this girl had in store. Her name was Darci Lynne, and with her rabbit puppet Petunia by her side, they both thrilled the audience with a powerful rendition of Summertime. The most amazing part was, she sang it all with her mouth closed. The judges couldn't believe their eyes as this little 12-year-old girl delivered one of the most electrifying performances in AGT history. At this point, everyone knew it was coming, but it was Judge Mel B who did the honors, and with the push of the golden buzzer, Darcy was handed the golden ticket, securing her spot in the quarterfinals. This moment changed her life forever. Petunia's rendition of Summertime was so beautiful that it literally melted the hearts of millions around the world, making Darcy an instant fan favorite. When the episode aired, she became a superstar. The episode ended up becoming the most watched AGT audition episode in history, although it has since been surpassed by 2 newer episodes. But as the glory of the first performance shone bright, Darcy knew she had to deliver once again, and the pressure was heavy. But she was up for the challenge. And even though it would be hard to top her audition, she was willing to give it her best. As we follow the story of Darci Lynne on America's Got Talent from age 12 to 17. All the performances linger in the memories of everyone. However, the story may have taken a different turn. While it may be very hard to believe, Darcy wasn't always so confident in her abilities. As a matter of fact, she struggled to sing in front of her own father. Growing up, Darcy was extremely shy and couldn't talk to people. She couldn't even look people in the eye. So, how did such an introverted little girl transform into the Darci Lynne we all know and love today? It's all thanks to her father, Clark Farmer. You see, even though Darcy was very shy, she also possessed a powerful singing ability, and her father saw that potential while she was very young. So, he would often encourage her to belt out tunes around the house, even if she couldn't do it in front of an audience yet. Both Clark and his wife Misty also entered little Darcy into various pageants to boost her self-confidence. It was during one of these pageants that she encountered the opportunity that changed her life. In 2014, Darcy participated in the International Cinderella Scholarship Program, where she was crowned International Mini Miss thanks to her incredible singing talent. But beyond winning the competition, Darcy also developed a bond with the teenage winner, Larissa Bonacquisti, who introduced her to ventriloquism. With this newfound love for puppets, Darcy began practicing in front of a mirror. Then, when she felt she was ready, she begged her parents to get her a puppet, but they weren't willing at first. That was until her 10th birthday, when Darcy's parents eventually gifted her a ventriloquist puppet named Katie. Within just 2 weeks, she had begun performing at local talent shows around her state. And now here she was, on one of the biggest stages in America, and she was ready to shine bright for the whole world to see. Quarterfinals 2017. For her second performance, Darcy brought the heat with a mind-blowing performance of Jackson 5's Who's Loving You. This time, it was with a new mouse puppet called Oscar, who seemed to have fallen in love with Judge Mel B. As soon as Oscar opened his mouth to declare his love with a song, both the judges and the audience couldn't believe their ears. The performance was so powerful that every single judge from Howie to Mel B gave the young ventriloquist a standing ovation. However, the most shocking of all was Simon Cowell, who couldn't stop singing Darcy's praises. Now, everyone who watches America's Got Talent knows that Simon is one of the hardest people to please. From his constant criticism to his sometimes uncouth comments, Simon Cowell has built a damning reputation over the years, which was why it was quite surprising that he didn't have anything negative to say about Darcy's performance. As a matter of fact, during Darcy's time in the competition, she quickly rose to become one of Simon's favorite contestants. But now, it wasn't up to the judges to decide whether she would proceed to the next stage or not. That power was in the hands of the fans. But after exuding so much star power, fans couldn't stop voting for Darcy and her incredibly talented puppets, and soon she was on the road to the semifinals. Semifinals, 2017. The journey to the next stage was pretty challenging for Darcy. Once again, she knew she had to take her next performance to a whole new level, and even though she made it look easy, delivering such impressive performances took a whole lot of work. Also, Darcy had another twist up her sleeves. From her first and second performances, the audience had been introduced to two different puppets, so why not show up with yet another puppet? Enter Edna Doorknocker, a senior puppet with one of the most incredible voices you've ever heard, and she had her eyes on Simon himself. After a brief dramatic intro and the naughty old Edna expressing her affection for Simon, it was now the moment the audience had been waiting for. This time, the song of choice was Aretha Franklin's You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. With a voice that was clearly distinct from what the audience were used to, Darcy once again showcased her musical prowess, singing with every fiber of her being, and captivating both the audience and judges once again. Apart from her audition, this turned out to be one of her most memorable performances on the show. Everything was perfect. From the way she introduced the song, to the fact that she even left the stage to sing the song directly to Simon, it was obvious at this point that this little girl was born to entertain. But that's not even the most amazing part of the whole performance. You see, with Edna, Darcy was able to convince everyone that not only was she a good singer, but she also possessed the remarkable ability to perform any song. From bellowing opera tunes to dishing out a bit of nostalgia with her golden oldies performances, it was like the perfect mix of sugar, spice, and everything nice. Even more remarkable was the fact that every single one of Darcy's puppets had their own distinct voice when performing. This, coupled with her perfect mastery of puppeteering, created the illusion that these puppets were not just props for a performance. They were beings who had their own voices, personalities, and distinct identities. Darcy was able to breathe life into these puppets and warm her way into the hearts of every single person who saw her perform. And now she had to hope she had done enough to deserve a spot in the finals. Finals, AGT 2017. As the 12th season of America's Got Talent drew to a close, one name was on everyone's lips: Darci Lynne. From the very first moment she stepped on stage, it was love at first sight. While there have been many ventriloquists on the show, Darcy has learnt to kick things up a notch, and everyone had high hopes that this charming little girl would claim the grand prize of $1 million. But first, she had to convince both the audience and the judges one more time that she deserved to win, and in usual Darci Lynne fashion, she brought the heat. As this was the final performance, Darcy had to employ the help of not one but two of her puppets for this performance. And when Petunia and Oscar came out that day, they came guns blazing. After yet another dramatic intro, Darcy burst into songs, performing Paul McCartney and John Lennon's With a Little Help from My Friends. In previous performances, Darcy only had to maintain the impression of just one puppet. But now she had both her hands and mouth full as she sang in both Petunia's sonorous feminine tone and Oscar's slightly masculine tone at the same time. It was a beauty to behold as she tore through every note without faltering, pulling in the audience to join in the performance. Once again, the performance was met with a standing ovation from both the judges and the audience. Simon Cowell would later crown the whole performance with the prediction, "I think you're going to win." But was it a prediction, or was it a prophecy? Finale, AGT 2017. The rise of Darci Lynne from America's Got Talent has been studied many times. From full-blown documentaries to short exposé, Darcy's tale has been retold many times. However, she wasn't the first ventriloquist to conquer the AGT stage. Many years ago, a man by the name of Terry Fator had also captivated the world with his incredible ventriloquist style. And as the crown jewel of his achievements, he claimed the throne as the winner of the AGT's second season. Whether it was fate or just a brilliant idea in the minds of the producers, Darcy found herself side by side with Terry Fator on the finale stage. Together, Darcy's Petunia and Terry's Winston the Impersonating Turtle serenaded the audience with the catchy tunes of Anything You Can Do by Doris Day and Robert Goulet. It was such a marvelous sight to behold as timelines clashed and the past collaborated with the present to create an astounding performance. And then, it was time to crown the winner. Everyone kept their fingers crossed, but there was only one contestant on everyone's mind, and as host Tyra Banks announced the winner, it was as though she echoed the voices of almost everyone in the room, Darci Lynne. The whole atmosphere was electric, as Darcy and her family celebrated this life-changing moment in their lives. But it gets even better. After she was announced the winner, NBC revealed that Darcy had received the most votes out of any finale performance in the show's history. So not only did she win, but she also set a record. From this moment on, Darcy was transported to a height she had never imagined she would reach. But even though her career took her far and wide, her story was intertwined with the AGT stage, and although she was booked and busy, Darcy couldn't stay away from the show for too long. Soon she would be back with another breathtaking performance. Life after AGT and first guest performance, AGT 2018. Life after winning America's Got Talent was a dream, and Darcy didn't want to wake up. After winning AGT in 2017, she found herself in the middle of a media storm. Everybody wanted to know everything about America's new favorite girl. In September 2017, Darcy and Petunia appeared as guests on the Ellen DeGeneres show, where Darcy revealed the major transformation her life had gone through since winning the talent show. She was also featured in Jeff Dunham's video, The Haunted House on Dunham Hill, where she took 3 of her puppets, Petunia, Oscar, and Edba, trick-or-treating at Dunham's house. Then, in November 2017, she reunited with her idol Terry Fator for a once-in-a-lifetime performance at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Petunia was also featured alongside a cappella group Pentatonics in A Very Pentatonics Christmas, where she performed an Easter-themed parody of Oh Christmas Tree. But that's not all. She also went on a highly successful national tour, which was called Darci Lynne and Friends Live. The show started with 5 locations beginning in January and February 2018. But seeing the success of the tour, it was later extended to 52 dates between January 2018 and January 2019. She also appeared on The Today Show, The Grand Ole Opry, the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, Pickler and Ben, and even the Kids' Baking Championship. But by August 2018, America's Got Talent came calling again. But she wasn't coming back as a contestant. Instead, she received an invitation to perform on the show as a special guest. The performance turned out to be everything the audience wanted and more. Performing Show Off from the Drowsy Chaperone, Darcy and Petunia stunned the audience once more, and by the time they were done, everyone was on their feet. The performance brought back memories of the days when Darcy was a contestant on the show, and maybe she felt a little bit at home on that stage because the following year, she was right back on the show. AGT, The Champions. As 2019 rolled in, it was the birth of new opportunities for Darci Lynne. Her career was on the rise, and there was no end in sight. But first, she must make a slight detour. America's Got Talent had announced a special season for all the past champions, and she wasn't going to pass on a chance to compete on the grand stage once again. Her first performance was with Oscar, and it was electric. As the mouse puppet delivered the sweet medley of Nutbush City Limits and Proud Mary, everyone was left stunned once again. Every one of the judges had the nicest things to say about Darcy and how much she had improved over time. However, things weren't as smooth as the first time. Although she was eventually voted in the top 3, Darcy didn't receive enough votes to continue to the next stage of the competition. It was a sharp blow to Darcy, because she was really looking forward to performing more on the AGT stage. Thankfully, she was later brought in as a wild card act, so her chances of winning were once again restored. For the finals, Darcy showed up with Petunia, who delivered one of the most memorable performances of the Italian opera O mio babbino caro. This also turned out to be one of her most impressive performances ever, as no one could explain how such a young girl could bellow tunes like that with her mouth closed while controlling a puppet. Unfortunately, this time the story doesn't have a fairy tale ending. But before we get to that, the finale. After fighting her way to the top once again, Darcy found herself staring down the victory road. But first, a finale performance, one that would be etched in the memories of everyone present. Teaming up with famous puppeteer Bill Beretta, Darcy performed Can't Smile Without You, with Darcy singing as Edna and Beretta as Rolf the dog from the Muppets. The performance was incredible, and everyone believed that Darcy would definitely win the champion season. But it was not meant to be. Darcy eventually ended up as a runner-up behind magician Shin Lim, the winner of season 13. Regardless of the outcome, Darcy forged ahead with her career, kickstarting another tour, while appearing on several television shows across America. But once again, she couldn't stay away from the AGT stage for too long. Other guest appearances on AGT. In September 2019, Darci Lynne returned to the AGT stage for a special performance alongside Petunia. Together, they performed James Brown's iconic hit, It's a Man's World, and the crowd went wild. Everyone couldn't get over how much her singing had improved, and even though they'd seen her perform a couple of times, no one could still fathom how she was able to hit such high notes without even twitching her lips. As with every one of her performances, Darcy got a standing ovation from both the judges and the audience. But that wasn't the last time she appeared on the show. In August 2020, Darcy came back again to deliver another electrifying performance. This time it was with a new puppet, Ivan, who thrilled the audience with a special performance of Justin Bieber's Baby. She also appeared in 2021 as a guest for the 4th time in a row. It was as though the AGT audience couldn't get enough of her, and it was clear why. This time around, Darcy teamed up with Oscar to deliver a thrilling performance of Let the Good Times Roll by Louis Jordan. But if you thought Darci Lynne would be done with America's Got Talent by now, you'd be very, very wrong, because she was back again in 2023, this time with fellow ventriloquists Terry Fader and Celia Munoz. Together, the singing trio thrilled the audience with a rendition of Over the Rainbow. It was a performance like no other, and it remains one of the most beloved episodes in the history of America's Got Talent. With 5 back-to-back performances, you may begin to think that Darcy would have gotten tired of the AGT stage, but once again, you'd be very wrong. As of 2024, Darci Lynne is currently competing on America's Got Talent, Fantasy League. Her first performance was different. Unlike previous performances where she would hold Petunia or any of the other dolls while she sang, Darcy decided to try something new, with Petunia left to rock out on her own and Darcy introducing a guitar to the whole mix. The audience were left amazed at this young lady who was coming into her elements. Although she got some criticism from Mel B and Simon, Darcy was able to get enough votes to move on to the semi-finals. The season is currently underway, but fans can't wait to see what other amazing performances Darcy has in stock for her fans. And then, there's the looming question. Can Darci Lynne snatch the victory at America's Got Talent one more time? Or is this going to be another fairy tale with a sad ending? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.